And we're back in the garden this morning, Dabney. We were talking during the commercial break, and you have some tips for us to really not stop thinking about getting ready for the spring.
Yeah, and I noticed you were thinking about spring too, and that's good. That's good.
Already thinking ahead.
Yeah, this time of year, of course, we don't want to go outside that much with the weather what it is. And keep in mind too, I was thinking about coming in, a lot of times we forget, if you have a fescue lawn, green lawn this time of year, you don't want to be doing a lot of walking across the lawn because the grass is frozen. You'll break those blades of grass off, and then you're going to start having some brown spots in your yard. But what we need to be doing is getting ready for spring. Our maintenance as far as the lawnmower, we can change the oil in it this time of year. If it's been a year or two since you've done so, get the lawnmower blade sharpened. Pruners, things that you use fairly regularly during the season, a good time of year to clean those up. Sharpen the blades, and shovels and things, what I like to do, because they'll get rust, we haven't used them that frequently, so I'll take a bucket of sand, take those things, if they've got any rust or even sap from using them, I'll shove them down that sand, and that'll clean them up. Then I'll take some machine oil and just put a light coat of that on, and that'll just keep them fresh, and they'll be ready to go for spring. Also, we need to keep in mind this time of year our fine feathered friends that are out in the yard. Keep your bird feeder stocked, keep the suet out for the woodpeckers, and I've noticed yesterday morning, the morning before, my bird bath was frozen. You can buy warmers to keep the water from freezing. They're a little pricey, and you've got to have some type of electricity nearby. I don't have that, so what I do, I went out, and I'll go out once or twice during the day while I'm going to work, but in the morning I'll put fresh water. That evening I'll put fresh water again, so it does give them some water sometime during the day. Because it's important to keep them around this time of year and keep them happy.
Yeah, I want them to be comfortable too. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the songbirds are always nice. We have a caller in Portsmouth this morning. Good morning. What's your question for Dabney?
Oh, yes. I would like to ask him when would be the best time to plant spinach. It's a cold weather or cool weather crop, and I would like to know when could I start that?
She was asking about when can we start planting spinach?
Oh, okay. So I got a little static in my speaker. It's this time, if you haven't already gotten in the ground, we're going to have to wait till March or so. Now, we have two options. We could actually start indoors right now and have the plants ready to go in March, or we can wait and plant directly in the garden. But if we wait to plant directly in the garden, we're looking towards the end of March, 1st of April, but if we had the plants ready, we could probably put those in by the 1st of March. Now, keep in mind, when you are trying to grow spinach from seed, when you have to soak those seeds for 4 to 6 hours in a light detergent mix of water to take the coating off the seed so it'll sprout more uniformly.
Okay.
A lot of people have difficulty trying to grow spinach from seed because of that, if you soak it, then rinse the seed off and plant them, you'll have 95, 98% germination success.
Okay, that's great. Now, I know I have a problem this time of year too, Dabney. In the house, we don't get a lot of sun in my particular area because the sun's so low in the sky. What's the best way to kind of get those plants started? Should you have a grow light going, or should you just try to find the sunny spot in the house?
Well, grow lights do work, and and I'm not so sure you have to put the extra expense into a grow light bulb. A lot of times, regular incandescent bulbs will work fairly well, particularly the fluorescent type. They do extremely well. And yes, you can put light on your plants. The other thing is move them around. They get a little bit better light because the sun does rotate around. Keep in mind too, though, if you're depending on outside light, the plants are going to grow towards the light, so you do have to turn your plants around every week or so, or otherwise they'll all lean to one side.
Yeah, and another thing too is you have to watch out for those drafts if you have a slider door, because that can prevent that too.
Right, and because we are getting lesser light, we come back to what we talked about last week on watering. Make sure you don't overwater, and even though the top of the pot looks dry and you think your plant's dry, the odds are the bottom 2/3 or even 3/4 of that pot is still wet. So again, you test it either with a moisture meter, you can purchase it at a garden center, you can take even a wood pencil or something, stick down, pull it out, and see if the soil sticks to it.
All right, good tips again. Thanks so much for coming in this morning,
My
Dabney.
pleasure.
We always have something to do when you come into the studio. We'll have another check of weather and news after the break.